Hello, everyone. It's Joy Nelson. I'm so happy to be here today to show you another 6x6 One Sheet Wonder. These One Sheet Wonders are so great. Um, they, they're easy to do. You can do a few cards in a shorter amount of time, letting the DSP do most of the work for you. So, again, I am Joy Nelson. I am from the Denver, Colorado area, and I'm super happy to be showing you some things to do with your designer series paper today. So, we are going to be using the Traditions of Christmas. I know Diane already showed you a little bit with this, but it's such beautiful, beautiful paper. All right, we are ready to go, guys. Again, I'm Joy Nelson from the Denver, Colorado area, and this is the Global Inspiration Stamp Team 6x6 DSP One Sheet Wonders. So I'm going to be doing the Traditions of Christmas paper. You've probably seen this once before already because Diane did it a few hours ago. And so we have the A side and then the B side. So it is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous paper. So I'm just going to quickly show you all of it, just in case you might have missed it or hadn't seen it before. And you just have all these wonderful colors with the touches of gold foil in them. And then we're coming to the piece that I'm going to be using today. And this is the piece I'm going to be using today. It has a wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous all over pattern. And so it doesn't really matter which direction you turn it, which makes it perfect for a lot of 6x6. It also has a great plaid on the back. So we're going to be using both sides of that today. I'm going to quickly show you kind of what we're going to be doing today, and then I'm going to show you how I cut my paper. So I'm going to have that, and then this one, and then this one here. And so I'm going to be showing you how to make all three of those. So we're going to just quickly move on. And I have a 6x6 piece of designer series paper here. And we are going to cut that. I'm just going to show you. This is a large version of it. It's not the right proportions. It's not to scale. But this is how we're going to cut this piece of paper. So let's bring out the paper trimmer. And go ahead and make your comments. I will be responding to them at the end after I finish, because Facebook doesn't like to show me your comments in real time. So that's kind of a bummer. All right. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half at 3 inches. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to cut it at 3 inches. First, get the scoring blade out of the way. And I've got it marked on my paper trimmer. And we're cutting it at 3 inches. We're going to set that one aside. And then we're going to cut this one at 3 inches. And which side do I want to use? I don't know. I'm not sure it matters. Okay. So 3 inches. Again, we're going to have a 3x3 square. And then we're going to cut these all at 1 inch. I'm putting this on my paper trimmer. And so we have, I'm just setting them aside over here. And then we have a 1 inch and a 1 inch. Okay. And then we're going to take the next one, and this one we're going to need to kind of pay attention when we lay it out. So this, now we're going to just do 6 1-inch pieces. So we've got a 1-inch, and another 1-inch. We're just going to keep doing this until we have 6 1-inch wide pieces. Just making it straight. You don't want to get these 1 inches crooked. So take your time. Don't rush. Just go ahead and take your time so that you make sure that they are straight. And we're going to do another one. So there's 4, and then we have 2 more. Hold that in place, and we have 2 more. So these 2 and these other 2 that we did over here, those don't have to be matched up. This one does need to be matched because it is going to make a difference. And these 2 need to be matched. So these 2 are going to turn this way. And then these 4 are going to be like this. And then these 4, we're just going to flip over. These 4 do not matter. So we're going to set all of these aside for a minute. Set this one aside for a minute. And we're going to work with this one. So first off, we need a card base. So I'm going to take a piece of 8.5 by 11. So 8.5 by 11 inches. And I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. And I want my scoring blade first. So we're going to put the cutting blade way down here and have the scoring blade up here. And first, we need to score it because we're going to make 2 card bases at once. You've probably already seen this. Many of you are probably really familiar with this to easily create 2 card bases at the same time. So I'm going to score this at half of 8.5 by 11, which is 4 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut it in half at 5 1/2. So half of 11 is 5 1/2. Get my scoring blade out of the way and bring up my cutting blade now. So there we have it. We have our 2 card bases, and I am using Mossy Meadow. So this one is Mossy Meadow. And we have our card base here. So there's 1 card base. Another thing we're going to need is we're going to need some Very Vanilla. So I chose Very Vanilla. I think Very Vanilla looks very rich for the holiday season. And so I have 2 pieces because 2 of my cards require it, this size. So this is 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches. Both of those are 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So we need 2 of those. And then of course we're going to need some inside pieces. So my inside piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And again, this is also the Very Vanilla. So 3 of these and 2 of these. That's what we're going to need. And then we're going to need some die cut pieces that you will just use out of scraps. So let me bring in the die cut for this one. Oh yeah, let me show you where I got these die cuts first. All right, so I got these die cuts out of the bundle, the traditional labels bundle. The traditional labels bundle and the Christmas greenery bundle both go with the Traditions of Christmas DSP. It's part of the same suite. So we're going to be using the traditional labels stamps and the traditional labels dies. So you have all these fun shapes. I love these shapes. Very, very, very fun. So you have all these different shapes, and we're going to be using this one today, and this one today, and this one, and this one. So we're going to be using all of these today, so using a lot of our options. But I've gone ahead to save some time, and I have die cut out my pieces, again out of the very vanilla. So I'm trying to keep some of the same colors and things together so it makes it even easier when you are doing your cards and doing your 6x6. There we have that. So we have our card base. We have one of our 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So 3 1/4, 4 1/2. And then we have our pieces here. So these are going to go one at the top and one at the bottom here with a little gap in the middle. We are going to cover up that gap with some ribbon. So I'm just going to bring it in my Stampin' Seal, and I am just going to go ahead and attach this with some Stampin' Seal. Make sure this is right, yes. I like to keep things matched up when I can. Because we're putting the ribbon in the middle, it probably wouldn't be that big a deal if it wasn't totally matched. Get that little nudge. And another little nudge. And it needs to go this way. This is going to go down at the bottom, leaving an even border around on the bottom and the two sides. There is that piece. That one's ready to go. Now I need to bring in some ribbon. This ribbon, I believe this is also part of the suite. This is the Real Red Shiny Ribbon, and it does have a really shiny, shimmery side, and then it has more of a flat side. So you can decide which side you want. I decided I wanted to use the shiny side, and I did go ahead to save a little time because we're going to do 3 cards. I went ahead and I just tied a little faux bow, and it is all ready to go. I need some glue dots. So let's pull some glue dots out of my drawer here and put one on this end here. And one on the opposite end. Oh, that one didn't come off. Make sure your glue dot comes off onto your ribbon. That's a good tip. Oh, it didn't come off again. What is going on with this? Come on. There we go. Now we have a glue dot. And we're just going to put this about right there. We're going to wrap that around on that side. And then we're going to wrap it around on this side. Having it wrapped like that does give it a little more of a finished look. So there we have that. And I think I need to take my Take Your Pick tool and grab one off of here and add another little one. Your Take Your Pick tool is so good for so many things. There we have it. That's better. Alright, let's go ahead and trim our ribbon. Just going to give it a little bit of a haircut here at an angle, because at an angle they fray a little bit less that way. And we're going to make sure it cuts going the same direction. And there we have a nice pretty ribbon there. So this needs some dimensionals. So let me grab some dimensionals out of my stash. And I use a lot of dimensionals. You guys know that. Those of you that have watched me, you know I like to be careful not to have any saggy parts, so I probably go a little overboard on the dimensionals. But dimensionals are relatively inexpensive, so I don't worry about that too much, about using a lot of them. Oh. And then one in the middle. And use my take your pick tool to get those papers off really fast. It also works if you have fingernails that kind of get in the way. You can just use your take your pick tool, and it works really well. One last one. Now this is going to go on here. Turn around, make sure we don't make a left-handed card here. I did that one time when I was first making cards. I'm going to flip that over. I made this beautiful card, and it opened the wrong direction. So I sent it to my crafty sister anyway, because I knew that she would get a big kick out of it no matter what. So I'm going to take our Mossy Meadow ink pad and our Merry Christmas from this. Now the Merry and the Christmas are separate stamps, so I did put them together on the block, but they are separate stamps. So you just kind of line them up and put them on the same block. All right. Cross your fingers. Just gonna let the ink absorb into the paper. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So there we have that. And while that dries just a smidge, I'm going to bring in an element that I fussy cut out of that paper. So this is on one of the papers, and I did fussy cut that out, did that ahead of time. And I need a couple of small dimensionals for that. Yeah, maybe need one more. I could have put one big one actually. And this is going to go onto our label here. Right about so. Then we need some dimensionals on the back of this one. So let's go ahead and get those on here. Oh, you know what? We need to move this over just a tad. Because it's going to hang off a little bit. So we're going to put another dimensional on there because that one stuck really well. And so did this one. All right. we're just going to move it over just a little bit because that side does hang off a little bit. So we need to move our dimensionals. All right, now we're ready. We're going to go ahead and put our greeting on here. That goes right about here. So now we have our lovely card with our Merry Christmas, and we're going to stamp a little something for the inside because we always need to not neglect our inside pieces. Go ahead and bring a little outside to the inside. So I am going to use the stamp from the Christmas greenery set, this large one here. And okay, one of my ink pads just got buried. Oh, there it is. I'm sure none of you ever lose things on your table as you're creating, things you just had in your hand just a little bit ago. So since this stamp is a little large, we're going to bring the ink pad to the stamp. And we're going to stamp this up at the top. Let that ink absorb into the paper. And then we're going to close our ink pad up. So we are using Mossy Meadow and Real Red. And then we're going to use Real Red. And we're going to bring in another stamp from the traditional labels, the 'Tis the Season. There's just so many great greetings with this one. So we're going to use the 'Tis the Season. And we're going to stamp that right below. So we have a lovely fancy inside for our card. Let's go ahead and attach that. Wrong one. It doesn't work too well when you grab the empty one. Okay, nudge. And we're going to put this on the inside. So this will finish off card number 1. So we have 2 more cards to go to finish off our 6x6. And the next one, we are going to bring in that other half, that other card base from our Mossy Meadow. These are bone folder. And we're going to bring in the pieces that we flipped over the other direction. And we're also going to need some other little pieces here, like little tiny pieces to go in the corners. So I grabbed a piece of Real Red, just a leftover strip that I had, and I grabbed that. That's 1/2 inch wide. So now I'm going to cut down to 7/8. So the 7/8 is right here. So it's the second to the shortest line, and it's the one closest to the one. So not the shorter one, but the next to the short one. So I need 4 of these. And I wanted to show you where I got that from. So these are tiny pieces, but this is also a good way to use up those leftover strips that we wind up having when we are creating our layers. And one more. There we have it. We have all four of those. We have four of this plaid and four of those red pieces. And we are going to start attaching those to our card base. Let's go ahead. I know I hate covering up this pretty red, but sometimes you just need to use the other side, the B side of the paper, so to speak. So we're going to leave like 1/8 of an inch on these two sides here. Then I'm going to work on the other corner. And kind of do the same thing, leaving just a small 1/8 of an inch border around a couple of the sides. Then we're going to add these other two pieces. These pieces, we're going to leave an 1/8 of an inch border at the top, but we're going to move this, so don't press it down too much yet. Move this to try to have, we're just eyeballing, don't worry about it too much. Try to have even-ish there and there. Not fully pressed down yet, so we could move it if we needed to. So then we have our little pieces here and here. Okay, that's great. It's a wonderful placement for that. Now we're going to do the same thing down in the other corner. And this is going to go down here. Basically doing the same thing that we did there. Nope, needs to go down just a little bit. Liquid glue would be good for this because then we could have some wiggle room. Nope, a little bit farther. So I haven't pressed it down yet. It's just sort of hanging out there. We have not pressed it down yet. Okay, close enough, close enough. I do tend to be a perfectionist, but I keep telling myself nothing has to be perfect. Good enough is good enough. Otherwise, it just takes me way too much time. So I'm just using the minis. And I could have used the black dimensionals on this as well, because the red is a very dark color. Bring in my Take Your Pick tool again. And I just wanted to give this a little extra oomph, which is why I decided to put these pieces on dimensionals. You would not have to do that, especially if you're mailing it. You might want to not do as much thickness as this. But I was just giving this background just a little extra oomph. by putting these little pieces on dimensionals. And then our last little red piece. So now we are going to do a little die cutting. So I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss. I just have the big one here handy. So I'm just going to grab this. And we're going to grab one of those labels that I just showed you. We have our cutting plates. You know, as always, we use the number 1, the number 2, and 2 of the number 3s. And then we're going to grab this one here. We need that one. And a little piece of real red. Just a bit, just big enough to do what we need to do with it. I could actually cut another one on that piece. So we're just going to go ahead and cut that piece really quick. There we have it. And now we're ready. I do have the piece of very vanilla that I needed. And we have the Mary. And so Mary is separate, and then we have Anne Bright. So I did put those together. I lined them up. First I lined them up on the label that I was going to use. So I put them on the label and then I put the block on. So I'll go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Come on. Stick to the, don't stick to me. So this is how I did this. Then I have the Anne Bright down here. You line it up how you want it. And then you put your block on. So now we have it lined up for our label. So I wanted to show you guys that tip because that is a fabulous tip. So that lines up perfectly, as you can see. That is a fabulous way to go with that. And we want some dimensionals on the back. 2 would probably suffice for this one. And we're going to layer these 2 labels together. Try to get them centered the best that you can. So there we have that piece. And like I said, I love dimension, so I'm going to put another layer of dimension on here. You absolutely do not have to do that if you do not wish, for whatever reason. And making it flatter for the mail is a very good reason. So then this one just goes right in the center here. And it looks very kind of homespun Christmassy. Now I do have some adhesive backed metallic gems, and as you see, I've used quite a bit of these, but I do have two small gold ones here that I'm going to use. on either side. And there we have card number 2 finished. Oh, we have to put it inside in. I have one I've already stamped, so let's just go ahead and put our inside in, and then it will be absolutely ready to go. So this one had to go the other direction. And card number 3, we're going to switch up our card base color. We're going to use Real Red this time. Again, it's a standard A2 card base, so it is 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. And we already have that one ready to go. And we need our piece of Very Vanilla, the layer that I told you earlier, which is the 3 1/4 by 4.5. And then we need our pieces that we cut, and we're paying attention to how they go because we want them all to match up according to the paper. So we're going to take this one first. Oh, come on. This one first. And we're going to line it up, and we're going to have as close as we can an even border around 3 of those sides. And then we're going to try the end piece. We're going to do the end piece next. Make sure it goes correctly, yes. We got our end piece next. Then we're going to do the 2 middle pieces. Okay, those, I'm not pushing it down yet in case I have to adjust it just a little bit. And of course, this is where our liquid glue probably would come in very handy. Okay, I think I got that pretty good. So we're just kind of centering those. Oops. Trying to make sure we get the even border at the top and the bottom. All right, there we have it. And we are going to go ahead and put this on our card base. Using lots of dimensionals because that's what Joy does. We're using a different kind of a bow on this one, so no, I did not need to put my bow on yet. And if you get ugly holes in your dimensionals as you're doing that, there's no worries about that because it does not show. Okay, now we have a piece, and we just need to stamp our Merry Christmas again, bringing in our Mossy Meadow ink and a different label from our traditional labels dies. Okay, there we have it. And again, yes, that's right. Putting dimensionals. Lots of them. This one does have like little edge pieces, And don't worry about that. It is intended to not, it is partially cut on there, so don't worry about it. It is designed that way. Oh. And we have all the papers off. And this one is going to go right up here. Just kind of coming off just a little. Because Joy doesn't do anything too symmetrical very often. And we're going to have our bow here with a glue dot. So I've pre-tied this bow to save a little time on our demonstration. And we're just going to attach that bow. And then I'm going to fishtail the ends, so you fold it in half and you cut from the middle out. And then we're going to do that on this one as well. This tail's a little longer. So there we have our nice little bow on our Christmas card. And we need some of those gems that just disappeared because I just had them. There they are. And we're going to put a large gold one kind of down here, and a couple of small ones, the two gold ones that I have left of the small ones. And I'm going to put one here and one here. So there you have it, all three cards. I'll put the inside to this one later. We have all three of our cards that we have made. And we did that with one piece of 6x6 Designer Series paper. Thank you so very much for watching. You will get all of our demonstrations from 9 demonstrators. You will get the 6x6 cutting measurements for that in the PDF when you make an order with your demonstrator. So until next time, talk to you later. Bye.